Perfect. So thank you everyone to join today's meeting. It's a pleasure to finally start the implementation with you. I think that most of you know me. You should have received some emails of me. I am Patricia Mijares, the partnership manager. This is the first welcoming officially to P4G. So thank you for joining. So today we will have some changes in the order of the agenda because some of my colleagues are having problem with connection, but we will try to fix it. No, so the first purpose of this meeting is to give you the general introduction of what is about the different reports that you need to submit, what is the audit that you will have at the end of the implementation of your partnership, what is related with the different monitoring and compliance that you also needs to meet during the reports and during the implementation. And finally, also some things about related with the knowledge product, the closeout, and the investment readiness support. That is the first that will start to explain you. As I think you should have all of you already different kickoff meetings that are individual meetings with each of your partnership where we'll explain you more the specifics of what is expected related according to your partnership. If someone of you doesn't have it, maybe can me text it or at the end, no. Also, it's important if you can type in the chat box the organization where are you coming from. So it's important that for us to understand that ideally the two lead partners are attending. We will share this recording and the deck with you um, later. But it's important to know if someone couldn't attend for any reason, so we know that where we need to reinforce in the kickoff on our next meetings. It's not the only meeting that we'll have with you, the training and this kickoff, but it's important to understand what what you will be working in the implementation of your partnership. So, what is about P4G, and I will go very briefly, but this is more a reminder, is remember that we are an initiative that is working in different sectors, and where the most of you are working in one, some of you in two sectors, and now we are 12 partnerships that were selected around two that are across the different countries where we are working. So P4G focused to work with different partnerships, but the main difference that we have like to other initiatives that exist in the market is that we work internationally, not only with you as partnership supporting. What we wanted to do with you is with this support is to work across different stakeholders. That is the national platform that will go in deeper detail during our kickoff, what is expected there. And also in with our funder countries to prove what are you now innovative working in the different sectors can be a scale in the same country or across the region, and what are these barriers that you face in this scalability and how you can become investment ready. So the main activities that you already send your budgets that we approve are focusing these three main things that will be working around during the implementation of your partnership. That is enable locally based business to become investment ready. That Julio will explain in more detail what is these expectations, what is the support that you will receive for becoming investment ready, the specific support because everything is aligned, And we are talking about this technical assistance and the grant funding that the budget that you receive, how can be allocated. And then the activity number 2, that is improving the country enable system, is how we are working together with the P4G national platform in each of your country, and it's something we'll explain in detail. We have two different entities, the private sector and the government, and also the the office of WRI and the different embassies. We wanted to work together with you to involve in these different associations to to demonstrate and to help you that is important to enable the market system. Mm, and then we have the mobilization knowledge, where you will have the chance to be in different summits. We are expecting that all of you will be in Vietnam next year. That is the next P4G summit. And also, we are talking about the different case study and share the lessons that we'll explain in one of the specific slides. So with that, Julio, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Patricia, for the introduction. So what we have been trying to do with this slide is to outline the support that P4G, that P4G team, and specifically the investment team, will be providing you during the partnership implementation to help you achieve your investment readiness goals. So we have organized our support into 9 categories, each one represented in its own box. So the first box is regarding the kickoff and the quarterly meetings. So what we intend to do here is that we will provide support during our regular meetings that we will have throughout the grand implementation, and particularly in the kickoff and in the quarterly meetings. So during these sessions, we will track your progress on investment goals, and also we will make a special effort to understand what your investment strategy is, and also identify challenges and specific needs that maybe you may have in a specific point of time. So these sessions, for instance, the kickoff session has been already set up by our partnership team. So we in the short term we will meet soon, and you will see how we will have these discussions. But this is for you to mention that we will provide support during those meetings. The second box is more regarding the strategy investment on your strategy on investment readiness. During these activities, what we try to do here is outline that we will assist the partnerships in formalizing the investment strategy you plan to implement during the grant, including your approach to engaging with investors. So the primary outcome of this phase will be to develop an investor engagement plan that can be tailored to the needs of the partnerships. So for this, we will be setting up follow-up meetings to dive a little bit more into these aspects. We will potentially be requesting information by email just to understand a little bit more what your investment plan and your investment strategy is, and with that information we can use it to come up with a plan to use our stakeholders and try to come up with this engaging strategy and plan with the close stakeholders for P4G. So this is something that we expect to have complete during the first quarter of the implementation of the partnership. So stay tuned, because this is something that in which we will be working hard in the upcoming months. Third is the due diligence and gap assessment work that is led by the South African consultancy firm Savant. So our role here as P4G will be monitoring the progress and identifying any potential issues related to the timing and delivery of the required documentation, and ensuring that the timely delivery of the findings by the Savant teams. Regarding this point, during the last 2 weeks, you have been receiving invites from the Savant team to clarify how this process will be implemented. They also will provide uh, feedback about the folder, and they will explain where you should upload all the documents and all the information. And they will be explaining in detail how this process is going to be implemented as well. So it's very important for you to attend these meetings uh, and also deliver the information on time, as they are key to advancing the investment readiness goals of the program. The fourth is what is going to happen with the results of the due diligence and gap assessment. That is the assist that we will be implementing for implementing the recommendation from the due diligence and gap assessment work. So we review Savant's proposal and then determine how they can be integrated into your grant project and how it can be reflected in your work plan and budget. Um, and especially within the contingency budget line that is already included in your budgets. And we expect this to happen after we receive the results of this document that is estimated in January of 2025. Um, Also, the fifth is regarding the investor materials. So this is something that we will do. So we will support you in preparing investor materials, specifically by enhancing your pitch decks and also creating an investment one-pager document. So these documents will be shared with relevant stakeholders to encourage further meetings and engagement with both local and global investors. So you already have received an email from our comms and investment team requiring some information to advance this process. So please be sure that you already submit the information. If you haven't already, please be sure to deliver the information this same week. So we expect to have these investor one pages by the end of this month for your review and comments. This is something that is happening very, very, very soon. Sixth, investor meeting. So we will be leveraging on the information that on the materials that we have developed, and we will curate meetings with investors for business introductions. So this can include one-on-one meetings with local stakeholders or arranging local, regional, or global investor events supported by P4G. For example, we have the upcoming summit in Vietnam next year. So, and in there, we expect you to participate in business matchmaking sessions or activities, also in pitch sessions as well. So that is an example of what we aim to do on that regard. Seventh, uh, we also we will collaborate with our MPL team, and this is the for the engagement with regulatory dialogue. So we will provide or we will collaborate with our local team to engage with our national platform, looking for a way to ensure that all discussions throughout the grant can be transformed into opportunities for accessing new stakeholders and resources. And so that's also part of the job of the work that we do. And also we provide support in the knowledge product component, aiming to document all learnings from this process and incorporate all the learnings into the knowledge products that you will be developing during the grant. So we expect that this document will offer uh, regional stakeholders valuable insights to strengthen local capabilities and in climate investment. So in general, and this I know is a lot of information, but this is in a nutshell, a brief summary of the investment support that we provide. So we will be implementing each of these activities throughout the partnership, uh, and this will be a key focus of in our follow-up meetings during the grant implementation. Um, so I guess that's it from my end. Back to you, Patricia, to continue with the presentation.
Thank you, Hud. Okay, so we have some logistic changes because like external issues. So Apollonia will hopefully will join in any moment, and also Kevin cannot join. Apollonia is our grant manager that most of you also have been in contact for the subgrant process, and Kevin our monitoring and evaluation manager. So maybe part of this, all the I will give the general training for the two parts of Apollonia and Kevin. Hopefully, Apollonia will join in a couple of minutes. But if not, also during the kickoff meeting, maybe we will reinforce some of the things that you need to do and be aware, and also for the specific Q&A. So either way, we'll share this deck with you and the presentation. So okay, and please, if you have any question now, meanwhile I explain you or related to what Julio already explained, if you can type it in the chat box, and I will try to answer it at the end. So the most important things that you need to consider for the budget and financial management is that so there are these different things related with the cost reimbursement. It's important that you will be the partner organization, so this set in the budget are these actual costs that you will reimburse. The first, and I think some of you already sent the first invoice for the reimbursement, that and the other invoices will be more for like and a payment in advance. Sorry. The payment in advance, but what we are paying is only those specific costs that are happening during the implementation of the project and are according to the work plan and budget that has been already approved. In any case that you have a change, like we need to have an anticipated to know that we'll have any that requires a change in your budget, or something, as is stated in your subgrant. There is a process included there that is important that you are fully familiar, and if you have any question, you need to contact us or directly to Apollonia. No? So there are some indirect costs that should be separate broken in the budget, and that are already in the work plans and budget that we approve. But if you have any change, let us know. Also, so when needs to be those updates of the budget, we are not expecting that, or we are not encouraged to change the work plan and budgets. But if they also, we understand that can be that what we want is that is really response of what are the needs of the implementation of the project, always aligned with the P4G support and the curve change. I don't know if someone has the microphone open, if you can help me, because I can not silent them. Okay, so if it's the case that the 10% of that there is any change and that is set in your subgrant, there is like a change of 10% of the budget needs to have a pre-approve of P4G. Of WRI, that means that you need to send by email the request, the new budget, the new work plan and budget, and there is an internal process to see why and if it can be approved. If it's lower than the 10%, it's important that you can notify us that there is this change. Even that doesn't require an approval for us. It's important that everyone has the same picture of where we are and what is the expectations in timeline or in change of any role. Remember also that the audits all of you will be subject to audit, and that includes also the cost share that you are providing and all the different different costs. So how will be the audit? In the subgrant is also set that you need to keep the records of the payments. Also can be in some situations where when you are asking for the payment, if we have some questions, we can ask you for the detail of those expenses that happens during a specific period. So this is always important that you can have the supporting documents. That is the main role of the admin partner. That is for each of your partnership, but we'll be working together with the early stage. So when we are talking about the disbursement, I understand that all of you are already, that the admin partner is already registered in the WRI vendor portal. If you need to make any change of your bank accounts, it's important to let us know so we can give you further instructions about any updates that you need to do in this portal. That is where you are setting the general data for your payment. And I am talking always with the admin partner who received the payment of us. If someone can help me with the microphones, because I cannot silence them. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So for those of you that hasn't sent the first payment, we are expecting the first one by email directly to Apollonia. You can CC me as well as your project manager. Will communicate in the kickoff meetings your project, who will be in charge of your partnership, who will be that PM. That will be given a more monitoring of your project. And so also, if you have specific questions about this invoice, we can talk about the kickoff that are planned for this and next week. But the first payment needs to be sent by email, and the subsequent payments will be as part of a specific link that is in Airtable, where we'll also submit specific information related with your FSRs or different reports according to the frequency. It's important that the remember, and also that is set in the work plan and budgets, that the 10% of your total subguarded amount will be keep it until at the end, until we receive a complete satisfied of the closeout report. That I will talk briefly about that, and then we can tell you that you can submit the 10%. So it's always remaining the 10%. Some of you will have, and I will talk about the milestone or non-milestone that has a different cap for the subgrant, where also it's important to have this 10% of difference. It's not difficult. Once that you are in the practice, Apollonia will guide you in this. So also it's important that some of you, can you help me with the microphones, please? If the admin partner was assessed with a different risk level, and that risk level depends of the so when we're asking you for the organizational information of the admin partner that you submitted, our WRI office, the legal department, make an assessment of what is the capacity as you as admin partner have to manage the grant. According this capacity, and is according the rules of WRI, we know that maybe some of you has a very good procedures, but this what we depends of this assessment of WRI, you was ranked with a low or medium risk. And for those that has a low risk, you will submit all the reports. The payments will be every quarter. And for those that are considered medium risk, will be by a monthly. So also for some that already.
Maybe I can add.
Thank you.
Patricia,
Thank you,
Patricia, maybe I can add something on the medium risk.
Yeah,
in terms
perfect.
of
And if you want
monthly.
to go, Apollonia, feel free.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for the medium risk, we will be doing bi-monthly. That means that your payments will be done every 2 months. I will take you through the process of how you will be submitting your invoices every 2 months. The first 2 months, you will not be expected to provide an FSR. So you will be submitting your invoices, but not submitting the FSR for the first 2 months. So an example would be like now we are doing October to December. So October to December, if you want funds, you do October to November. And then in November, when you're sending your requests for December and January, you will not be required to submit your FSR. But the request for February and March, the assumption is that you would have submitted your quarterly FSR. So that would be required before we submit any payments. I hope we can clarify that for any medium risk partnership. If we need to, we can go through it in detail. Yes, Alpha FSR is financial status report, which will be shared with the PMs. PMs of your projects, and you'll also see it as we go through the slides. Patricia, next slide. So this is the template for the payment request. I believe all of you have seen this request. If your partnership has not yet submitted your request, we advise that you send your request for an advance, unless you don't need the advance. Because as Patricia mentioned at the beginning, that this sub-agreement is based on reimbursable, meaning that you'll be reimbursed for the expenses that you have incurred. And what we are giving currently is an advance. We give an advance, and then once you account for it, then you can choose an advance, or you can choose where you incur the expense, and then you ask us to reimburse you the expense, the funds. Now, this is the template for the payment request. I believe most of you are familiar with it. It's important that you read the instructions. The only areas you're supposed to fill are the yellow parts. Please make sure that for it to be complete, just to reduce the back and forth, make sure you include the project title, make sure your bank details are correct as per what you registered in the WRI vendor portal. It needs to match. And then the payment type until the end of the project is interim. And then at the end of the project, you'll have final. So next sheet, next slide. So in terms of foreign currency and interest management, WRI uses USD as its currency, and your reports and even your budget you saw were in USD. So anytime you're going to use local currency for the partnerships that are going to use local currency, then you'll be expected to use fast in, fast out. So if we send you money right now, you would use the fast funds until they are over, and then you report on that. And then the next tranche, you will report on the first income, that first funds that came in. So in terms of interest, if you're going to put your funds in an interest generating account, then the interest that has been generated needs to be returned to WRI, and you need to account for that in your financial status report, which I'll demonstrate in the next slide. So it's the pastor's responsibility, as has been indicated in your sub-agreement, that you're responsible for managing currency risk. Next slide. In terms of foreign currency, I have mentioned that we use fast in, fast out. So this is an illustration of how you're expected to do that. So an example would be if we sent you like 10,000 USD, and that 1 USD at a rate of 1 USD is equals to 15 Rand, then your first report would use 15. So if you use 15 and then what you received in Rand was 150,000, expenses in Rand is 150,000, expenses in USD would be 10,000. So I'll illustrate the lower part where you received 15,000, and then the exchange rate was 12, but then you had 180,000, but then you spent 30,000. So this would be 2,500. So the next report that you will do, you will still use the exchange rate of 12 until that is expended. Next slide. So this is a snippet from the FSR. There's a section in the FSR where you're expected to, if you're using local currency, you're expected to indicate how you're managing your foreign currency, how much you received from P4G, the date you received, the local currency denomination, how much was it, the exchange rate on that day that you have received the funds, and then amount that you have received in the local currency. So the local currency denomination, you would indicate if it's, for example, Kenya shillings or SA Rand. Next slide. So in terms of reporting, we have two types of sub-agreement. We have the milestone-based sub-agreement, and we have non-milestone-based sub-agreement. So milestone-based means that your contract has been capped to a certain amount, and you will only unlock that amount once you achieve the milestones that have been indicated in your sub-agreement. So if you have a milestone-based sub-agreement, you will notice that in your sub-agreement, there's a section that has been indicated the milestones that you need to achieve for you to unlock the rest of the funding. So this does not affect disbursement. Disbursement will still be done on a quarterly basis based on risk profile, whether you're medium risk or you're high risk. So in terms of 9 milestone, you are expected to do a financial report every quarter, an activity progress report you'll do biannually, and then the M&D progress report will be biannually. For the milestone-based partnerships, you do the financial quarterly, the activity progress would be quarterly, and the M&D would be quarterly. You will notice for the milestone, they have more reporting compared to the 9 milestone. Next slide. So in terms of reporting non-milestone, as I've mentioned, you will notice that they are reporting. There's one where they're reporting quarterly, activity is biannual, M&D is biannual. But then for this quarter, because your project is starting in October to December, you will first do the first quarter, and then going next year, then it will go back to biannual, because we want it to align to the reporting, to our reporting timelines, which are biannual and biannual for the activity and biannual for the M&D. So for this period, October to December, there's a report that will be due on 31st January, which will note that it will not be biannual, but it will be quarterly, but it's just for us to align to the reporting period, and even just to see how we can align what has been reported and take any corrective actions early. And the reports will be submitted through Airtable. The links will be provided a month before the reporting deadline. So in this case, your report for October to December, we will send you a link on either 31st December or on 1st January. And the report will be due on 31st January. Next slide. In terms of milestone, I've talked about the milestone having to do it on a quarterly basis. The rest of the information remains the same. You will be required to do an FSR, which is a financial status report, the M&D progress report for them. The M&D will be biannual, but then the activity report, they would have to do it quarterly, as well as the financial. Next slide. So let's talk about the financial status report. We will be sharing the templates with you. So the financial status report, we basically ask you to share with us all the expenses that you have incurred in that quarter. And there's a tab where you'll notice there's a section called a transaction listing. A transaction listing basically gives us information or the details of the expenses that have been booked into the FSR. So it's important for it. This transaction listing can be extracted from your financial system. It's important that it includes the voucher number, the transaction date, the amount, the person who was paid, and then it needs to be something that we can get like an audit trail, and we can get a sample from it and extract and request for a sample. This can be done on a quarterly basis, or it can be done as need may be, but it's very, very important that all documents are kept ready for this, for the sampling. And then it's important to ensure that the reporting period is accurate and the funding period is to fill. You don't need to fill every section of the FSR. I will guide on the next slide on where you need to fill. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is FSR is just your, it's just your budget. It has your budget both for the cost share and also for, it has the cost share, it has the P4G funding, and then you will notice that it also has a section where it would have your quarterly budget for the first quarter, and you're expected to only fill this section, the highlighted, where it's, so this is where you will put in your quarterly information, and then the rest should be able to populate. I had mentioned about the local currency and foreign currency management. You will notice the lower section of this document has that. the lower section of this document has that. So I think I need to, Patricia, let me share my screen because I am. Yeah. So I'm referring to this. I'm referring to this section where you're supposed to fill, and I'm also referring to this section in terms of the foreign exchange.
We cannot see your
Foreign
screen
exchange.
yet, Apollonia. If you want to share it again.
Sure. Let me try again. How about now?
Not yet, or I don't know if someone else can see it, but not me.
Okay. Okay, then just share. I just wanted to highlight the areas where it needs to be filled. How about now? Can you see now?
No, Jen.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
then just share, please.
Now we can. Yeah. No, you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
sharing this. Yeah. Okay, I can share.
You can see it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Wait 1 second. Okay.
Okay,
You can see it, right?
Slideshow. So in terms of audits, when we were preparing our budget, we were informed that P4G would facilitate and pay for the audit. We will also identify the auditor that will undertake this process. So all partnerships are required to undergo a project-specific audit, and this has been indicated in your sub-agreements. It's important for you to plan as you start the implementation process.
We cannot see your screen, so I will share again. Maybe it's easier. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, thank you, Patricia. So it's important you start preparing for the audit as early as when you start implementation. Make sure that you have all the proof of expenses. Make sure that any expense that has been incurred has an audit trail, and you need to maintain the invoices, the transfer slips showing how the money moved from the account to the recipient's account. And it's important to mention that the audit is for both cost share and also the P4G. So both the cost share will be audited as well as the P4G expenses. The audit report will be 90, we expect the audit to start a month after you have submitted your report and your final report. And we expect the report to be ready within 90 days. If you plan to provide any funding to another organization, then you need to let us know. And also, it's important that the guidelines that we are sharing are also implemented by that organization. And then, of course, we expect you to maintain the records for at least 7 years. And WRI/P4G can come and audit the expenses at any time and review the expenses. And that's why we are saying that we can request for any samples at any time. Next slide. Next slide. So in terms of project closeout, it's important that you need to submit your final report part of the implementation period, and this will be done via Airtable. We will share the link. It's the final report, the closeout report will contain the final activity report, the final FSR, the final payment request form, the final M&D metrics, and a communication memo, which would allow our communication team to have any testimonials and any media materials, and asset and inventory list if it's applicable. And then it's important to also mention that unspent funds will be returned back to WRI, and this will be done a month after the final audit report. Then once it's letter, and then we'll be able to disburse the remaining 10%. And at that point, we will be able to consider that the partnership is closed. So I see a question from Alpha Gitao. Are consultancies considered under financing other organization? No. Consultancies are part of that organization. So when we're talking about other organization is where you take part of the fund and you give it as a sub-grant to another organization. Next slide.
I can explain this. Okay, so this, as I mentioned, is Kevin Mulamad, who is our monitoring and evaluation manager, cannot join in this meeting for an external circumstances, but I will quickly explain, and maybe in the kickoff also we can go to the details and specific questions that you will have about it. But as part of the reports that also Apollonia was mentioning, and depending of the frequency, so we are talking more about the activity progress that the will be biannual or every quarter, according if you are milestone or non-milestone. You need to submit, and also will be an Airtable link, the specifics of the data that have you. So remember that in the work plan and budget, there is one sheet where you commit to the different indicators of that you will achieve during the implementation of your partnership, as well as a long term. No? So what we'll be doing is to monitor the performance of those specific indicators or that you set in the work plan and budget. So the Airtable link and the monitoring and evaluation has a different lines that are asking you to know about that performance, and not only about these indicators. Also, we want to understand any barriers or challenges or even successes that you have in the different areas. So it's important. So this report is a cross-cutting themes. It can be related with investment, the social aspect, the economic aspects, environmental, everything. So it's very important to tell us that is aligned with the information that you are given is aligned with the work plan and budget, and that the data has this level of confidence. So this will be every 6 months that you need to submit this report, and only for the first to be aligned, the first months, as Apollonia was mentioning, to be aligned with our annual reports will be for the 3 first months. We'll share with you the links. And also that reports contains different media, a media part where we wanted to see like YouTube videos or photographies that are the testimony, or what are the beneficiaries or the different success that you are having. So it's important to document everything. Also, an important thing that just we improve in the last weeks, and that maybe will imply some changes in some of your work plan and budgets that will address specifically with each of you, and we can talk more about that in the kickoff meetings, is that for the section, so all of you have a budget specific for the knowledge product. But what we are expecting in this knowledge product, and it's important to mention that we submit a guidance that also I think is important to share with you in a link. So we submit in the P4G website in the additional materials, a guidance for the knowledge product, where the expectations is that you need to produce 2 case studies, one of the or 2 products. The first product is related with the policy and regulatory engagement, and that what is these lessons learned, what are those barriers that you have or you are facing to enable the market environment, and can be in a policy paper, a report, a working paper, a white paper. And also the second one is about the product of the success of the business model. No, what are those learning in the journey to raise investment? So also there can be some specifics between this journey that we can talk with you case by case, but what we are expecting in this line of the knowledge product that you have budget is this specific case study for policy and for business model. No, so as to start we suggest to start with this guidance that is already published, and also in the moment that I share with you this recording and the deck, also we share the guidance of the link for this knowledge product guidance, and we can talk more about in our kickoffs meetings. So what are we reviewing as part of the monitoring of the implementation of your partnership with these different reports? So we have one thing, what we have is these interim reports of the FSRs, of the financial reports that Apollonia mentioned, the activity and the monitoring and evaluation. The first activity that you will have is this kickoff meeting. I think we will start today with some of you, and we'll finalize in 2 weeks. So it's important that you are fully aware of these expectations and the training, and we can answer more accurate questions about this or the specific of the partnership that include the expected engagement with the national platforms that we want to have with you, and how we can help you in the journey of P4G. So you will have an open line of communication with your PM. We'll communicate who is your PM in these kickoff meetings for those that doesn't know yet. And that can be, and we can talk about what is the best way to give you. We will love to be like answering everyday calls, but it's also you need to understand that we need to balance our workload. So those monitoring visits and this open line is specifics, and is something that we can talk about the frequency in our kickoff. No, so it's more about the specific like challenge or success that we can support you. Also, you will have a different site visits. Like all of you already have a site visits as part of the selection process, but now that you are selected, we'll have monitoring visits that also the periodicity can change, and at least you will have one during the implementation of your partnership, and also that could include a financial monitoring visit that we are booking. You will know in advance when we are visiting you, and what will involve that visit. Also, P4G reserves the right to conduct any data quality assessment. Also, as I was mentioning, and Apollo I think also mentioned, is that we can ask you for a specific detail of the expenses that you are having. If you want to clarify anything, so it's important that you keep all the records and are aware of what is indicated in your subgrant, because that is what we can review. The final audit that Apolline already mentioned, and also, if we have any concern, something that we will communicate it. Also, were some concerns of some of you, like what is happening? We will not end we don't want to aim to end our relation with you, but it's something that will be communicated as you implement the partnership. If we have any concern in any moment, is part of something that we'll communicate and try to mitigate what is not working. So we'll be in continuous communication with you through the reports, or it can be through different assessments. Apollonia, you want to explain this, or I go?
Go ahead, Patricia.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so what are the important next steps that you need to be aware is first, all of you already signed, or I think we only have three cases where you are in the process of signing the final subgrant. So it's important that all of you, not only the admin partner, also the early stage, is fully familiar with the language of what is in the subgrant and in the work plan and budget that you agree that is the appendix, that is an annex of this subgrant. And if you have any question, contact us. No? Also, the PM will share the G code that you need to share, that you need to use in the different reports. Is your ID to know what is that you will use for any payment, reports, everything. So it's important to have it very clear. And also we'll share with you the different like templates for FSR, the latest work plan and budget, and the different links of Airtable. No? For those that hasn't sent the first invoice, the first one, as I mentioned, is by email, and the followings will be by Airtable with the different reports or information that needs to be attached. All of you should have the kickoff meeting. We're invited the lead. We are expecting that always in the meetings are the lead admin partner and the early stage. If you have any conflict of agenda, please let us know. But it's important that at least one representative of each of the organization is attending to those meetings. Also, we already Savant, that is the firm, that external firm that is in charge of the investment due diligence gap assessment that Julio was explaining, already sent the meeting request for all of you. If someone is missing, let us know, but it needs to be is happening also in the following weeks. And also, we are asking specific information to consolidate a one-pager of that we call this investment one pager that Julio was explaining. That is important that you can send us the information briefly because we want to promote already with potential investors your partnership. So each of the regional investment manager, Julio for Colombia, Simon for the Africa countries, and Sheila for the Asia countries, will be requesting you specific information. And also, you will have through your PM the introduction with the national platforms and those site visits when are happening. So now we have a couple of almost, we can do, if you have time, 10 minutes of questions. I know that we are over time. Sorry for this logistic issue that we have today, but also we can have time during the kickoff for additional questions, and you can contact us by email, and also we will share the emails of the different regional managers and your PM. So I don't know if there is any other. Yes, Apollonia, go ahead.
Yes, Patricia, maybe we need to also mention that the responsibility of review of commercial partner reports also lies with the admin partner. So it's important that you review what has been submitted by the commercial partner, as our agreement is also with the admin partner. So it's important that before you submit any report from the commercial partner that you have agreed on it. And it's important to also mention that all staffing costs have to be accompanied by a timesheet. Thanks.
Thank you, Apollonia. It's a very good reminder. So I don't know if someone has a question. We can do a 5 minutes, I think. Okay, we have a question of Roman. The percentage of surplus or deficit in our fund of utilization. Apollonia, you want to answer?
I'm not sure I understand the surplus and deficit, what he actually means, but within the budget, anything that is above 10%, if you're anticipating an expense that is above 10%, then you just need to contact your project manager, you discuss it, and then you can prepare like a budget amendment to reallocate funds. The only place we will not reallocate funds is from the staffing cost to activity activities. But the rest, if you feel like there's a need to change an activity and it's above 10%, then you need to communicate to your project manager, and then you share with us the proposed amendments to the budget, showing where you're removing the funds from. I don't know if that was your question.
Roman, do you want to add something or was clear? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Okay, there's any other question? So if not, maybe, yeah. And then okay, Steve, are timesheets required for the audit or every financial report?
You are required every time. The assumption is that whatever you have in your financial report has to be supported. So if it's staffing, it has to be timesheet. So whatever you submit, you don't have to submit the timesheet, but they need to be ready. So if we request for you to submit them, then they need to have been ready. Like it needs to be something that is done on a monthly basis.
Any other question? Okay, I don't know, Polonia. We can move budget from one sub-goal to another.
Apart from the other mandatory activities, if you can justify the reason why you are, and this is probably after some implementation and you feel like you probably under budgeted from one sub goal, then you can move it. Yes, so you are allowed. Exception is on the other mandatory activities.
And it's important that, Jose, if you are doing that, you can communicate that before, just to ensure if it's less than 10%, you don't need to have an approval, but it's important that you can send us a change. And if it's highly probable that if a change of a sub goal, you need to have an approval from us.
Yeah, so any change that you do, you still have to communicate it to us, even if it's below 10%. You just need to inform us. But anything that is above 5%, we have to approve it internally. I hope that clarifies the questions, the budgets. Thank you.
Occupancy, we thought it was hotels and trips. It's okay like that.
Occupancy is for office rent and all that. So if you feel like you need to change this should be, hotels should be covered, and hotel should be covered. Each sub goal has a line for travel. So you just need to move it from the occupancy line and take it to the travel line. Thanks.
Question also, you can raise your hand if it's easier than typing. Indirect costs such as social security or taxes are included in the budget items.
There is a budget line for indirect cost at depending on how much you requested. So there are people who requested for 4%, there are people who requested for 5%. So this can go there. I'm not sure if taxes cannot go there, but social security, yes. But I believe social security, if it's related to staff, then it's a direct cost to that staff role, and it should be indicated as probably the what is this called? There's another word apart from the salaries. There's fringe benefits. Yes.
Hey, how should be done the international payments?
I don't understand what you mean by international payments because you would just transfer payments from your account to another. But please note that the implementation should only be within the P4G implementing countries. So the expenses are supposed to be incurred in the P4G implementing country. So if it's Ethiopia, the expenses should be incurred in Ethiopia. If it's Kenya, the expenses should be incurred in Kenya. How will it be measured if the partnership company is classified as medium or low? What exactly would be measured, Marie? I didn't get what exactly we are measuring. So the classification only affects the disbursement. If you're medium risk, then we don't give you 3 months advance. We only give you 2 months advance. If you're low risk, we give you 3 months advance. Do you let us know earlier the P4G?
Yeah, I can
How do you
answer
define
that.
medium or okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
for the P4G summit, we will. So the Vietnam government is already preparing the invites, so you will be receiving in the next months as latest. But I think it's something that is happening this year, and it's just a matter of logistics. No, so we are. That's why we're expecting that all of you already have in the work plan and budget, and you will receive the invites early as something that we can coordinate with the PMs, with each of you. So how do you define medium or low risk? I think a similar question, but it's some as we were explaining, the different risk level was, yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you, Mari. We have a provider out of our country to some activities. We are in Colombia and need to pay in USA some things. And that, Apollonia, is for the international payments question.
Yes, this is fine so long as the service is done in Colombia. If it's being done I'm assuming this is a service. If it's being done, the service has to be done or incurred in Colombia. Thanks.
And if the gap analysis shows a sufficient level of investment readiness with the December report, do we need to wait until the Vietnam event for the first investment meeting? No, you don't need to wait. Julio, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, no. I think it's important to mention that we will provide support to the investment strategy, and the investment meeting the partnership is having organically during the grand implementation. What I'm trying to say here is that uh, what you can expect from us is to support the work that you are doing in terms of investment. The due diligence and gap assessment work will provide some analysis on some information that will be instrumental for support on that endeavor. What we want to do in order to engage with investors is to try to aid to support that strategy, to try to enlarge your network, and try to reach out new investors. But again, your participation, and I mean the meetings that we will have with the different investors could happen in any time during the grand implementation. It's not that we will wait until the Vietnam summit. It could be before that. What we expect is at least to advance in the investor engagement plan, and also have at least the due diligence and gap assessment results to start working on that endeavor. So that means that the support that we can provide in this engagement, we will start by, I think, from the second quarter of the grant project onward. I think that's the support that we can provide. But yeah, happy to answer to any question, any additional question on that.
You done? Do you want to go ahead? You are in mute.
Good morning, everyone. Um, just to clarify, Apollonia, on the one that you mentioned with regards to, let's say, out-of-country service providers. Let's say you have a Zoom account, or you have other services that you need in order to perform, let's say, jobs, or it could be even somebody that helps you in development, software development. I don't know, but that person lives or works or resides outside your, let's say, your home country. Of course, that service is provided for, let's say, let's say for the development of the product of the commercial partner. That still applies as an in-country service provided, right?
Yes, it does.
Thanks.
Yes, it does, because whatever has been developed will be utilized in the country.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Judith. Any other question? I know we are over time. Okay. Perfect, because we have, so I think if not, we can close the session of today. And yeah, and so we'll start with the kickoff meetings. So thank you all of you, and we'll share this link with you, the recording with you, and the links that we mentioned. So have a nice evening,
Thank you.
day, or night. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.